422 million people have been impacted in 2022. Can you imagine how much that is? I mean, if you only look at the population of America, there's only 320 million people. So more than the full population of the United States of America have been impacted or have been a victim of any breaches that have been in our software industry, which I think is a mind-boggling number. And although we see that if you look at the number of vulnerabilities that we have today in our software is a little bit declining, that does not mean that the number of users that are impacted by that software are also declining. And here you see a graph that I used, which you can get from the website of NIST, where you can see the number of known vulnerabilities in current software packages that we're using out in the open. Now, one of the things that happened over the past few years is that attackers have shifted their perspective on how they can attack users by not only attacking the end user at their desk, but they're actually trying to attack the software developers. Now, if you look at the total software development lifecycle, then there are many places where we can then add tools or means to become better coders and ensure that we ship secure software. So one of the things, of course, is that we can start at the code side of things. And what we can do is then protect ourselves from the fact that we would commit into our source control repositories secrets that we might use in test environments or production environments. And even today, when I do my consulting work in the field, it is so often that I go to developer groups and they just commit their test credentials into the repository. Well, even those test credentials can be an attack vector to get into your production environment. And it's often also one of the things that's very much overlooked. Now, if you look at what we can use to make this better, there are three specifics that I would like to dive into this afternoon. And the first thing is secret scanning. And secret scanning is all about looking at your complete Git history, and based on your Git history, see if there are any secrets already hidden in your code base. This is one of the things that most organizations fear the most, is that there's already something in the history, but they have no clue of what's actually there. Because if you look at the tip of the branch, you don't see it, but it can be hidden somewhere in history and still can be exploited, because that's where the attackers will look. They won't look at the tip, they always look at deeper in the hierarchy of your branches. So apparently, somewhere in my code, I'm accessing the database, and it is probably string concatenating, which is then causing this issue. So if I look at this, I can then see exactly where the code is. I can exactly see then which lines it is, because that was also reported, and you can then see that there is here an insert into the database with a string concatenation using string literals. And this is where it's becoming susceptible to SQL injection, and then what we will do in the next part is I will show you how we can fix these things, and also what tools we can use to learn about what's actually going on here as an education as well. And what I can do is I can then say, well, let's select this piece of code here, and now go to my friend Copilot chat. And what I can do is I can ask it questions here about this code. And I can even ask it, can you please fix for me the SQL injection bug at this code? And then what it will do is we'll start thinking, and then it says, okay, I can rewrite this for you by using what they call a parameterized query. Somebody once told me that where AI is today is where the movie industry was in the early days when they were filming the sound sets that were used for the hearing plays on the radio. And they were filming that because they didn't know how to make a film. And this is where we are in AI. We're still scratching the surface here. And there's much more to come if it comes to making us much more productive, but also prevent us from making these mistakes. Because when I was writing this code, in the future you can expect that you will get a direct prompt like, dude, you're doing a SQL injection here, or prevent it and make sure that that will not be committed to the repository. That is where we'll be heading in the future if all predictions come to play. So wrapping this up, I hope that with this short demonstration I've shown you that with GitHub Advanced Security we can protect ourselves a bit better for what is all going on in our developer ecosystem. We as developers have become the attack vector and we need to, I would say, gear up. We need to do it better. We need to ensure that this code will not ship because, like I showed you, 422 million people have been impacted last year by our mistakes. And that's not acceptable anymore. We need to do better.